he smiled at me afterwards and he goes, "I can dance, kid." And he patted me on the back and we were homies after that.
Bro, that's not a bad day. That's not a bad day. That you just gained respect. Here's the thing that the audience needs to understand. As a child actor, you have to prove yourself again.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Whenever people ask me, like, I want to go to Hollywood, I'm always just like, picture yourself at your most successful. Everything you dream of in Hollywood, you got it all. Now remove fame and remove money. Are you happy? Yeah. Like, is that what you want? Like, is this meaningful to you?
Did you guys ever have feelings for each other on set?
I'm just playing, I don't fight, I do pray. I only go the way of Mr. Yahweh.
It's not often I sit down with somebody and they say something that makes me think. Bro, this was great.
I love you guys.
But you give me something to think about.
My own damn way.
I had a lot of fun on this interview.
Dead center.
Yes,
so like
sir.
that there. Yep. This is a good position. I can see both.
Perfect.
Yeah. You guys are getting married. That's amazing.
Yeah, I love you so
so
much.
cool.
You're so cool.
How long have you guys been dating?
5 years.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, it's about time. I mean, let's get this show on the road. No,
You know what? It's
I'm
how quick
joking.
these men turn on me, bro. You're supposed to be on my side, dude. I was expecting to be like, wow, quick. That's so awesome. Good for you. You know what you want.
Mine was 2 years, and I was like, it felt like an eternity.
All right, you're making it worse for me. Welcome
I'm joking.
Welcome back to the George Janko Show. We have a magical episode going on today. We got David Henrie. The gentleman that I watched growing up, dude. This is.
Thank you very much, man.
I got something to say before we even get started on this this awesome episode. My sister worked at Zales in Arizona. Now you said you're from Arizona.
I grew up in Arizona. Yes.
Same. So I was raised in Arizona, but I was born in Chicago, but my whole life was in Arizona. And she comes to me one day. She goes, "You'll never believe who I just sold jewelry to from Zales." And I was like, "Who?" She goes, "David Henrie." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, he got something for his mom and his aunt." And
So every Christmas, I would go to the mall, and that huge mall there.
yeah, PV Mall.
PV. I go to PV Mall, and I have a wad of cash, and I would buy all the ladies in my life presents.
Are you Italian?
So yeah, 100%.
Super Italian move, bro.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'd have a fat pocket.
He even bit the gold before he bought it. He's like,
I was like, I know this is sales, but bite into this thing and I'd break off the money, count it out. But yeah, I bought my aunt something, my nana something, buy my mom something. I totally probably would remember your sister.
She's right there.
She's right there. So you did it. You lied.
Oh, wow.
So you guys met.
I just got caught on camera, completely caught on camera. You look just like your former self at Zales. You know what it is? You just didn't have your Zales uniform on, so that's why I didn't recognize you. How was I nice?
So nice.
So nice.
Okay, good. Okay, that's good. Great.
Yeah, you were with your little cousin.
Recovers from the lie. Yeah. Yes, I brought my cousin with me. Yeah, Lane. I think my cousin Lane.
Nice.
Yes. Yes.
When I heard that you were being, I was like, no way, look at that full circle, dude. Totally.
That's crazy.
You know, but the reason I brought that up is because during the time, like, there was no social media, there was no anything in the realm of being a famous, like, child star or like a teenager star, or like whatever it was. And so, like, nowadays it's like there's so many people you see that are recognizable. Back in the day, bro, it's just you guys and the Nickelodeon kids. That's it. Like, it was the realm of that.
And Dragon Ball Z.
This is why I respect you, bro.
Dragon Ball Z.
This is why I respect you.
I met Vegeta once, actually, in person. I met the real Vegeta, yes. And I had him do the voice for me, and I died. I literally died. That was it. Career
was that
over.
like at a GameStop or something?
It was at a Comic-Con, and I couldn't. I got to meet him and talk to him, and he did the whole voice for me and everything. And I got to meet Goku too.
Are you just gonna casually throw that?
You're a Vegeta stan? Like, you're more for Vegeta?
Well, I mean, come on.
I mean,
Goku's number one, but Vegeta's like the guy.
Low-key, it's number one, but you don't actually tell people it's number one for you?
I got her on Dragon Ball Z too, by the way.
You did? Like,
Yeah.
Did your wife?
Which Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z,
Super.
Dragon Ball GT? Super.
Do you like GT?
So here's the thing. So after GT is when I kind of faded out a little bit.
Yeah, different creators.
Completely different creators, completely different thing. But I was like the kid who waited at PAX Sun for the Japanese versions to come out before they dubbed everything.
A little dirtier.
A little dirty,
Did it freak you out the first time you watched it?
What the heck? It was like, is this like before PG-13 distinctions, rated R distinctions, and kids content? Because I was like, what the heck?
The trainer
Even the dog's freaking out.
He's like, I loved it.
Dude, you got so many things coming out right now, and I'm very excited to talk about it. But the first one I want to talk about is Monster Summer.
Thank you, man.
Dude, you went from being on a hit, groundbreaking Disney show, and now you are directing people like Mel Gibson, bro.
Mel Gibson. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Where is this? Where did this stem from? When you were acting as a child, did you think that you were
Tommy.
going to get directing? Get off. Look at him. He's like, I'll just chill.
He's like, I know the perfect counter to your get out of here. It's lay down. It's actually lay down. I love dogs, by the way, so this is totally fine. You know, I had after I did so. I was always creative. I was always behind the camera. I wrote for the original show. I was like one of the, I think still to this day, the youngest professional writer for Disney.
You were writing?
I wrote, yeah.
How
yeah.
old were you
What?
when you got casted?
I was 16 when I got casted. So I was like 18 or 19 years old when I started writing for the show. Season 2, I started letting the writers know that I wanted to go behind the scenes and be involved in everything. And I started to be invited into the room, which is basically like 15 people. It's a writer's room. And you're allowed to listen to jokes and you're allowed to pitch a joke in front of the whole room while you're talking about the episode. And if you're not funny, you're out. You're out. Yeah. So like, it was a bit of trial by fire, and then I got invited to write, and that led to just that validated me to go, you know what, this is why I'm in this business, to create things that can make impact. It gave me a very meaningful feeling, and after I finished the show, I just went on. I was 21 years old, and I went on a bit of an existential journey where I was just like, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? It was a very big moment in my life, a very big moment, existential crisis, studying different religions, studying different things. It was a whole big moment, but it led me to what I found, which is ultimately purpose. And through my Christian faith, finding that, which was a whole other story.
Well, I want to dive into that if you don't mind. Like, bro, you can't just sidestep that.
When did you meet Jesus?
I was
When did it
getting
happen?
to purpose. I was getting to purpose.
Well, the
but you
purpose-
can't sidestep our Lord.
You can't. It's just the fact, dude. I'm like, what a beautiful thing to have. Like, you had it all. No, like, not to be weird, but like, you see these really sad stories of kids that were a part of projects and their parents weren't hands-on, and they just let this little kid run around, and he had the world fill him up. But the fact that not only are you a kid trying to develop in this field, but you're finding the Lord, you're directing, you're finding your purpose. Like, was your mom and dad very hands-on?
I found it completely independent of them. I credit the fact that I have even my head is still on my shoulders and that I'm alive. I know a lot of people who haven't made it and who've dealt with drug issues and all sorts of terrible stories. I credit my parents with the fact that I got my head on my shoulders and that I'm a father now, and they did a great job. They never made me feel like I had to support the family or that this was all on me and that I was the breadwinner. And all the poor dynamics I've seen have led to really poor fruit and messed up people. And that's what I've seen is parents who make the kid feel like it's all on you. You have to do this. This all depends on you. And that breeds a messed up adult. And that's not how the family's supposed to be. That's not the right family dynamic. My parents always made me feel like I was in a sport. And even still, I still dealt with all sorts of issues I had to work on, and I'm still working on, because kids are not normally in professional environments. That's a lot. Kids don't have CPAs and lawyers and this and that. But I had it from the time I was a very little kid. So that in itself comes with certain consequences. But the fact that I even had parents who supported me, like you support a kid in a sport, very solid foundation, wonderful marriage, that got me to where I am now. Hands down, if I didn't have that, I would be so messed up. Because yes, everything is at your fingertips. And that's what led me to my kind of existential journey, is I was like, I'm so experiencing the fruitlessness of material goods in the material world that I was 21 years old and I was like, I don't even want to drink. Like, I've done it all. Like, you can't send me to a cooler place. I've been there. You can't get me a cooler thing. I've bought it or have had it. I can't do this forever. This is totally empty. I can't do this.
But it's insane that you're able to bring your feet towards the Lord in that type of aspect.
Well,
I
didn't
thank God
want it.
that my mind is even formed before He gave me this life, because there's no way, bro. I would have crumbled.
100%.
I think He gives it to ones who can handle, and my God, you handled it perfectly.
Thanks
man.
be to God. Yeah, thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. He left it. Yeah, there's that calling that always stays there. He's relentless. He's relentless. He'll never let you go, which I found so powerful when I finally came to it, because I didn't want it. I said anything but Christianity.
Did you feel it even when you were a teenager?
ABC. What was that?
Even when you were a teenager, were there like little pushes here and there? And
Sure. There were pushes to do good and not do bad, and I think that, looking back on it, I think that was grace. But I just didn't want it to be Christianity. I didn't want it to be Christianity. Because I thought I was cool and I'm going to find something else. And but I was honest, and I did this film called Little Boy, and I met a bunch of really great men who debated me, and it was basically like proofs for the existence of God and philosophy and why questions and going back and arguments from contingency. It was purely like a spiritual, intellectual kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it really led me to, okay.
Kind of what Cliff does in his son Stuart. Have you ever seen?
No. I got to see
You never
that.
seen Ask Me a Question?
No.
Oh, bro. When we're done with this, I got to show you.
You're going to take me on Ask Me a Question? Love it.
No. This is this gentleman and his son. His name's Cliff and Stewart, and they go to colleges and they debate, but respectfully, and they get people to think about things differently instead of just like hammering the rules and laws of God.
Oh, I love that. I'll have to check that out.
I would love for you to
They
check
minister.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah, Cliff and Stewart.
So you go from acting to now you're writing, and now you understand you're picking up your faith. You're finding
Yes.
out who you are.
Yes.
You're directing. Did you just jump straight to Monster Summer, or like?
No. I developed a bunch of things in between. I produced and wrote a show for Netflix called A Tale Dark and Grim. We got nominated for the Emmy a couple of years ago for that. I directed another film called This Is the Year. But I always wanted to do something with big actors who I loved and respected. But for me, what's most important is themes, values. What does a film have to say, and can it be high quality? Can it be impactful and broad and big? Because I grew up going to movies with my dad, and there were all sorts of movies that I could watch with my father that didn't have an awkward car ride home where he'd have to explain something to me, or like there weren't awkward parts of the movie. Sure, there was some scandalous this and that, but nothing abnormal that required a whole explanation or debate on the way home.
Right.
There was pretty wholesome content. You think of movies like Jurassic Park, Goonies, E.T., Monster Squad. These movies are something a parent can get something from it, and a kid can get something from it.
Amen.
So I wanted to create a worry-free form of entertainment that the whole world could see, that families could go watch. I mean, it's a problem right now when me and my wife are constantly having to evaluate everything our kids watch, because there's all sorts of stuff in there that I don't want to have an awkward car ride or have to explain to a 7 or 8 year old or whatever. It's like, this stuff shouldn't be in content. Let's just have a good time. Let's be entertaining again.
Yeah.
Let's tell
Yes.
stories that can apply to all peoples and all places at all times. Like, it's called the entertainment business. We should be entertaining. So
you said that in an interview that you wanted to bring that back to the version 2 of Wizards, and that you said that that's missing now. And I think you're right, dude. I think back in the day, like, my parents would be able to leave the room knowing that I'm watching, and they're not worrying because they know that the program is for children.
exactly right.
Does that excite your heart that you get to come back, and now your children, as they're growing up, are going to be the audience?
Bro, that gets me so excited. And seeing my little daughter sit in the audience and watch me act, and her laugh and giggle and ask questions and everything, it keeps me going. It's why I want to do this show. And I feel like the world is so argumentative and polarized that the entertainment business, you just got to leave that stuff out. We just got to have a good time.
Yeah.
So both with Wizards, with Monster Summer, with Reagan, like all of these projects I've been privileged to be in, all are in line with my MO as a person, just to make entertaining, elevating content that can apply to all peoples and all places at all times. So it really does motivate me and get me really, really excited. And
What do you like more, acting or directing?
bro, directing is so hard. It is so
Is it
hard.
easier to direct now that you're an actor? So like you could kind of like put
I bring
yourself in the
all
shoes.
that in.
Yeah.
Yes, I bring all that in, 100%. Especially when working with kids. I know what it's like to have a bad director as a kid. I remember that. And I know what it's like to have a good director as a kid. So I bring all of those experiences when working with kids, especially with something like Monster Summer. It's influenced everything that I've done. They're two totally I think I find directing more meaningful. Acting is more immediate pleasure. You see the reaction right then and there, and I love it. I love both of them, and they're both a part of. I just want to do whatever I can do to help a great piece of content be made. Like if acting is what helps get it done, boom, let's do that. If directing, but my heart would probably be a little more in directing, just because you really, but you're on the sword though. Like if it's not good, you're gonna take all the blame.
As I say, like, is the pressure so big because you're like, hopefully everybody likes
I
the
don't know how
shot.
anyone can direct and not pray. Like it's so much pressure. But
Dude, okay, well, put me in your shoes, man. Like, you grew up on this big show. You're trying to, and here's the thing that the audience needs to understand. As a child actor, you have to prove yourself again.
Yeah.
That's tough. You have to say, hey, no, that wasn't a one-hit wonder. Let me show you guys these other things that I have in my arsenal. Now you got the opportunity, and you're directing Mel Gibson. Okay, so walk me through how you're feeling here, buddy. How do you direct Jesus Christ as he's on set?
Yeah, I was so nervous to meet him because I've studied all of his film. I think no one can argue he's one of the greatest filmmakers in our living memory, Mel Gibson. So I remember my first meeting with him. I was like, man, how do I do this? This is going to be like, how do you, I'm a kid compared to this guy. He's got kids my age. How am I going to walk in and be like, yeah, I'm directing you, dude. Like, move your Oscars out of the way. Now this Disney kid's going to direct you. But you know what? Right before the meeting, I was just like, he's just a person. Don't be overly respecter of persons. Just talk to him like a person. Yeah. And you've both been I've been in this business 26 years. He's been in it a lot more, but I've been in this business a long time too. So go in and just talk and share your heart. And if he hates your heart, that's okay. But just share your heart and throw it all out there. I love that gymnast quote. It's like, throw your heart over the bar and your body will follow. Right?
Aww.
So just go all in.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a trapeze quote actually. But I did. I went all in. I threw it on. I pitched him my vision. I told him everything I was going for. And he was so freaking cool. He's like, yeah, I get it. Sounds good. And we talked about Christianity for the next hour.
I just need to talk to you about this because there's so many people in my life that I have in my dream guests, right? Forget even having him as a guest. The privilege of meeting a man that stayed so strong in his faith, directed other people that influenced
I bet
to
you he would do
Christ.
the show.
I would guarantee I'd shit my pants.
Okay. I'm going to set it up.
I actually could place a bet that
I'm going to set it up now, and let's see how long it takes for the pants.
Dude, that would I'll mail them to you, and I'll be like, I'll write you a note, be like, told you, this is all your fault. but just take me for that moment, because that's a moment that I've daydreamed about. Like, what was that sweet nectar of knowledge that he gave you that you might have not grabbed from somebody else?
Honestly, his humility. I mean, I was just with him yesterday. Like, the guy pours humility. He is such a teammate. Because I've met a lot of older actors who are like legends, and I've had a lot of buddies who direct a lot of older actors who are legends. And a lot of them can be very difficult to work with. And they can direct you. If they don't like the way things are set up, they'll say move the camera. If they don't like the way they're lit, they'll make you change it. If they don't like the way their makeup's done, they won't come out of their trailer. And this was a part of a different time in Hollywood. That was a very normal time. And all that was going through my head. Like, is that what I'm going to experience? And he couldn't have been more opposite. His humility, he talked to me just like a normal person. Like, he would talk about, oh yeah, you did this past movie or this past show. I was doing Braveheart and we did this or that. As if we were equal.
Yeah, just a casual, award-winning movie. Just hey, I was doing this. That's great.
Right. As if we were
so
equal.
Comforting.
So comforting. I instantly was disarmed. My anxiety was gone. I was completely disarmed, and he made me feel like an equal. And it empowered me to. He believed in me. He's like, I get it, kid. I know what you're doing. I believe in you. I knew what I was doing. There wasn't any sloppiness. I was very prepared. And I had a great team around me. These young producers, John Blandford, Dan McDonough, Mark Fasano, they had my back. But his humility, and he loved the subject matter. He hasn't done a family movie since I think Pocahontas. He hasn't done a family movie. Can you think he does?
How did you get him on the board to do the movie?
He liked that it was different. And I happened to have a friend, the guy who I met on Little Boy, one of the producers, who was having lunch with him. And I saw on his Instagram that this dude, my buddy, was having lunch with him. And so I sent my director's letter to my buddy, and I go, hey, read it to Mel. And he read it to Mel, and apparently Mel said, I'll read the script. And he read it, and he's like, yeah, this is like Goonies with teeth. And Goonies to Mel is a big deal because that's Richard Donner. Richard Donner, obviously, his whole I'm blanking on his franchise with him and Danny Glover. Lethal Weapon. The whole Lethal Weapon franchise, Richard Donner. So Richard Donner is very meaningful to Mel. And so when Mel said to me, when his feedback from reading the script was, oh, this is like Goonies with teeth, I knew he was in because Richard Donner is a big deal to Mel. And that was his comparison. So that was a huge...
I love that you knew so much about his heart before you even met him.
Oh, yeah.
That must be crazy. All right,
Such a blessing.
flip the screen now. So you're directing, but now you're a part of a big project. This
Yes.
movie just dropped. Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? How long did it take to make this movie?
Yeah.
So
Thanks, pal.
I got some.
Because you said it before. Because I wanted to ask that, but then you asked. So yeah. I was like, yes.
So I met one of the producers at a friend of mine's house, a guy named Mark Burnett's house. He's a great producer. And we're around a campfire, and I'm bumping shoulders with this guy named Mark Joseph, who just starts telling me that I look like a young Ronald Reagan. And I was like, oh, thanks. You know, it's my grandmother's first crush. Like, I've heard his name. I don't know much about him. And I found out he's making a movie on Ronald Reagan and that it's coming together. And that was, I want to say maybe 7 or 8 years ago, something like that.
So it was the same project.
Yeah, because we saw a
And-
random interview of you on YouTube talking about it 9 years ago.
It was, okay, 9 years. 9 years ago. And Mark was working on getting it put together and meeting with different directors and different actors and just trying to get it put together in the best way possible. And there's another project that I think can entertain and elevate. It's a great story about
Quality's coming back.
quality's coming back, and people want that. The market is showing that people want high quality,
Yes.
worry-free content that are good, universal stories that everyone can get something out of.
So say somebody doesn't even know who Ronald Reagan is. How could you pitch them on going to watch this movie?
What I love is it's a movie that's not about the politician, it's about the man. It's about a person who has a calling and chases his purpose. And it was a particularly challenging one for me because I'm playing him from like 16 till 29. And he was a lifeguard at 16, and he was really skinny. And he was like 20 pounds less than I am now. So I had to lose all this weight for the role. And I remember they were like, okay, it's 6 months away, you're going to film. So I trained, I lost the weight, I was ready to go. And then a day before production, there was a COVID outbreak. And they go, hey, we're having to push, and it costs us a ton of money. So we're going to shoot in like another 6 months or something like that, 4, 5, 6 months. So I just lost all this weight. So I go get cheeseburgers, I go eat. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a break. I had to lose the weight again, lost the weight.
This is very LA of you.
Dude,
And
it was a lot-
Ozempic wasn't around at the time.
Where was that shot? Where was the freaking shot? Looked like a wet dog on Ozempic. And so I lose the weight again. I study the accent. I get ready to go. And it was a blast. It was a blast to play him. I play an unknown part of his life. So there's not a lot of video footage of him as a young man. The earliest stuff of Reagan, he was higher pitch and faster than what he was as a president or what people remember of him as a president. He's a bit slower. So when he was younger, he was higher pitch and quicker. And that worked well with Quaid, because if I would have tried to do an old Reagan, then I don't think that would have set Quaid up for success, because it would have just been like me trying to do him. It would have been weird. So there's a difference between he and I think in a good way, because I play him as a much younger man.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to tee up Quaid to like crush it, and he does crush it.
How do
He's
you
so
feel?
charismatic.
How do you feel about working with the director, the writers, and of an amazing actor like him?
It was great. I earned so many points with my wife this year, I got to tell you, because
Dude, you came back swinging hard, dude.
Because when I first was dating my wife, I go, all right, who are your crushes? Like, I need to know what kind of guy what's your model of guy? And she goes, number one, Dennis Quaid.
Wow.
And I went, oh, good. I was like, good. That's great, because he's, in my mind, that's a man's
That's
man.
a man's
you know?
man,
Like,
yeah.
that's a good guy to have a crush on. Number two, Mel Gibson.
Wow.
And then number three, she lost me on Legolas. Just from Lord of the Rings, Legolas. Not Orlando Bloom, Legolas.
What the heck is
He's
a
the
Legolas?
archer. He's the archer in Lord of the Rings. He's
have
got
a-
the long blonde hair.
Oh, got you.
Very silky blonde hair. I was like, you got Mel Gibson, Dennis Quaid, and like Legolas? Like that doesn't. So she lost me on number three. But the first two, I was like totally. And this is 7 years ago when I first met her. You know, no Dennis Quaid and Mel Gibson. If you'd have told me I'd be working with them, I'd have been like, no shot.
Yeah, right.
Like no shot, no way.
He gets excited and super insecure all at once. He goes, yes!
But then you won this year. But wait, hold on. So now, right, you've just done Reagan, but let's go all the way back to the beginning, because you were the kid on How I Met Your Mother.
Yes.
Was that your first gig?
No, I've been doing it since I was like 9 years old. I did a lot of stuff before then.
You look like you were 9 in that show, though.
Yeah, I bloomed later in life. I hit my
Oh, you were
growth
like
spurt.
older there?
I was
12?
13, 14.
Okay.
I was
That-
Did
13,
that
14.
girl next to you, is she an actress still, or?
Lindsay is, yeah. Lindsay Fonseca. She does a bunch of stuff. She's always working. She's so talented. She was like 17, so like girls can keep that look for a long time. I was going through puberty. So they were like, we got to shoot this kid out as soon as humanly possible. We got to shoot as many episodes as we can.
Because every day you're just, now he's a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, homeboy's growing. So they were like, we don't know how long the show, because with TV too, it's just season by season. You don't know if you're going another season. You got no idea what's going to happen with the show. So season 1, they shot like 5 or 6 episodes. And then season 2, they're like, I think the show's working. We should shoot a bunch of what if episodes. So we shot like 90 episodes and then the what if ending. Like season 2, they literally, it was crazy. We're on set and the 2 showrunners come in, the guys that created the show, and they go, everyone out, everyone out. And the entire set, they left the cameras rolling, kind of like if you told everyone behind the camera right now, just leave. They left the cameras rolling. They brought in NDAs, and me and Lindsay signed the NDAs. And we're like, what's happening? We've never been on a set. Cameras rolling.
Yeah.
No one in the building. What's going on? And they bring in these NDAs. We sign these NDAs, and they go, okay, we're going to tell you what we think the ending of the show is.
Did they tell you how it was going to go?
But this is what they thought the ending was back then.
Oh.
So they go, we don't know. We're in season 2. We don't know, but we got to get back to Robin somehow. Somehow we got to get it back to
I'm
Robin.
watching it right now, Robin, at the end.
Yeah, we're watching it right now, too, ironically.
Yeah.
Oh, did I just blow it for you?
A little bit.
No.
A little bit.
You still have it. You still have
Okay, but trust me, there's surprises and twists and
Okay,
turns,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's
I
twists
I
and
know
turns.
what's happening, so like right here, I get what's going on.
We're on
here.
are we on
Over
season
here,
4?
not quite.
We're on season 4, yeah?
No, we're on like season 3.
it. No, you're season 4.
Yeah.
We're
we're
on season 4.
Okay.
You're getting there.
Great
There's still a lot to
Continue.
go.
It's
a
okay
lot
if you
to
blow
go.
it for me. I'd rather you tell good info than it's okay.
But
Yeah,
it's-
Val, don't be selfish.
But it was crazy. I was in I remember like season like 6 or 7 or whatever. By then I turned 21 and I would go to a bar and people would be like, we've heard you know the ending, and they'd be sending me drinks to try to get it out of me.
No way.
And I didn't tell anybody until the end of the show. I didn't tell a single person what I was told, at least.
Yeah.
I'm
Because
not
you
trying to
signed
get
an NDA.
sued. Yeah.
Damn, so you were going in and doing this while you were doing Wizards as well. You were still doing the beginnings.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I'd
Do
be
you know
I'd be
you're the
going back and
reason
forth.
why I started doing buys and tries?
What?
Yeah, bro, dude, Wizard Waverly Place. I'm sitting there picking my nose, just watching cartoons, and in one fucking episode, you're shirtless here, and I'm like, oh, dude got arms, and then I literally just started doing push-ups because I was like, I think this is what boys do, and then all of a sudden, you just never wore sleeves again, and I'm
Bro.
like, my man's
so
looking
funny.
good,
That is
bro.
true. There's a point
My
that
man's
was-
looking good here, bro.
There's so many weird subreddits on that phase of my character's life. Like, yeah, no, I was working out like crazy. I was
You were
boxing.
jacked,
I was
bro.
doing all sorts of stuff.
Bro, I
funny,
swear,
yeah, there was
I'm
a
gonna show
phase.
you pictures of me when I was, I had a high school senior body in 7th or 8th grade. Just from the amount I've watched Wizard of the Place, I'm like, dude, this guy's doing way too much. But I thought you were my age, and I was like, my God, what's happening? And I'm like trying so hard to catch up. And so, yeah, I just want to let you know, man, you made me
that
hit
is so
fitness. That
funny.
was you. That was you that did that for me,
Crazy.
bro. My
I mean,
man.
it is pretty crazy. Like, I've watched you, like, since, I don't know, when did Wizards come out? Since it was 7. Like, that's
2007 to 2012, like that.
Yeah.
That was the.
Like, I've lived in 3 different countries, and you've been with me in 3 different countries. Like, you know what I mean? That's
Now
so
I'm
crazy.
insecure.
What are the 3?
No, but
You
it's
spoke to my girl in 3 different languages.
I loved Wizards, you know?
Yeah.
What were
okay,
your
tone
co-
that
what are
down
the
a little
countries?
bit.
France, and then Canada, and then
You know what I always found weird? Why did they, like other countries where they dubbed my voice, I have the highest pitched girly voice.
With those
I don't-
big arms. He's on roids. Listen to him.
yeah, they did. I did watch you dubbed in French for a little bit, but then I also had my mom had a friend who would record them in English and send it to us because we prefer the English version.
But your
You know?
character in French was hilarious because every time you were mad at Alex,
Yeah, right.
They added that in out of nowhere. It's like, what the heck? Fucking Pepe Le Pew.
what does it feel like? Because, like, dude, like, when you walk around Disneyland, like, dude, you're like a stamp in the history of Disney. Like, and by the way, not to just say anything, but when I first came to LA, my agent was like, I got an agent. And he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, Nickelodeon, Disney. And it's hilarious because everybody out here is like, I'm trying to get away from that so I could be an actor. I'm 20-something years old. I'm not a kid. And they were like, don't you mean like older stuff? I was like, nah, Disney and Nickelodeon. And bro, my first 2 auditions I booked, Nickelodeon and Disney.
There you go.
Thank you, bro. So I checked it off my mark. And let me tell you something. A lot different backstage. It's very different.
Yeah, you see Mickey with his head off smoking a cigarette. It's like, what the heck's going
I'm
on?
like, hey, what's going on here? The director's like, bro, by the way, you guys have to be word perfect.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah. No, I break that. I've always pushed back against that.
Bro.
I mean, you want to come close. But being like saying "and" as opposed to "in this" or whatever, like
Nah, dog.
that's
I was
a
on
level.
Andy Mack. I don't know if you heard of this show.
Yeah.
I was a suit dude, and and I'm dyslexic, so like I have to remember everything.
Oof.
Okay. I get on. I'm like, fine. I spent days. I'm like, I memorized the script. They just come up to like, hey, we changed up the script. Here you go. And I'm I started sweating, and I'm wearing a suit, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god.
That's my worst nightmare.
Bro, they yelled cut. I'm not exaggerating. This is the line. Ready? Yeah, the suits are over there. Okay? The line was, yeah, the suits are over there. Like that different. Cut! Yeah, no. And over there. As soon as he said that, I literally looked at the little girl in the show and I started sweating. I go, they're going to fire me. We did like 9 takes. My one line, I go, I'm never getting casted again for this show.
But that's so not the spirit of the line. It's like, as long as you're communicating the spirit of the line, the words can kind of.
Yeah, of course.
I
that stuff
never
kills
stick
me.
to script. Ever.
I don't read the script.
bro.
The script reads me.
No, yeah. So I did a movie once, and the director's like, "Stay on book." I was like, "Okay, but can I like have fun a little bit?" He goes, "Stay on book," and I was like, "All right." And I stayed on book, and then he let me do the improv. And I have to admit, dude, when you get to add your own flavor, it's so much better, dude. It's so much better.
Because you're alive.
Yeah.
Because you're alive. It brings it to life. You don't feel stiff or stale or any of that stuff. I totally agree. Totally agree.
What was the worst like day of set where you're like, "Oh man," like
I did a scene with
I love how you knew that right away.
Yeah, it's quick.
I have a bad day. I have a bad moment. Sorry. So I did a scene with Tom Wilkinson, who rest in peace, who is a wonderful actor. I think he's won like Oscars. He's been nominated. We were doing a film called Little Boy together, and it was a very serious scene, and I was intimidated to work with him because this is my first job after Wizards, and it was a very serious movie. It was like a dramatic role, not a single joke, very serious. And I'm doing my first scene with Tom Wilkinson, who I've seen in all sorts of movies forever, like so many movies. And I was nervous because I'm a Disney kid, and I'm doing a scene with a very serious, very respected, credible actor who's been nominated for Oscars, and I said a word wrong, which affected his line. And I messed up, and he called me out on it. He goes, that's not the line. Totally fine. So we go to do it again, and I was like, I'm going to act my pants off on this. It's going to be amazing. And I was so focused on acting well with all the other lines before that one that I screwed it up again. Oh. And he goes, man, you're going to say it right? And I was like, oh, yeah. So now it's the third rehearsal for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to purposely say a completely different word now to let him know I'm not afraid of him.
Oh,
Why?
And
did you know Jesus at this time?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I didn't. This is bicep David. This is like working out David. I was like, I'm a fighter.
Oh, that's so how old are you?
21.
Okay, dude,
21.
that's so funny, dude. That's such a different direction than what I think you're gonna take.
No. So we go again. I say a completely different word to let him know I'm not afraid. And he looks at me, and then he responded with the word I purposely messed up. He used it in his next line and kept on going.
Oh.
And then he smiled at me afterwards, and he goes, "I can dance, kid." And he patted me on the back, and we were homies after that.
Bro, that's not a
you
bad
were
day.
doing?
That's not a bad day.
Yeah, what?
That you just gained respect. How is that a bad day? You stayed 10 toes down. And you got a little pat on the chest. That's not a bad day. Sweating and having somebody read you lines on a Disney set while calling you dumb is a bad day. I asked you for a bad day on set, not the day you became a man.
Wait, what was the
What kind
question?
of Disney-ass bad day is that? He goes, wait, what was the question?
It was almost a bad day.
Okay.
That was my almost a very bad day. That is almost a bad
fair,
day. I was
fair.
sweating, but I pulled through in the end.
Yeah,
dude,
that's
that's
a
so funny.
stressful decision to make.
Funny. That is so funny.
That's
Hold on, now I got to think of an actual bad day.
Yeah, and you thought about it so quick too. I thought it was traumatizing. You were
It was
hitting us with a
almost
reverse
traumatizing.
no.
It was almost very traumatizing. No, and I got to think of it. Hold on.
A bad day.
I
Or
have an
something you
actual-
really did not like that you had to film.
You don't have to say a name, but was there somebody you were excited to work with, and you're like, "Dang, this dude's a chump, bro. I don't like this guy." Or
yeah,
girl.
yeah, yes. There's been. Yeah. I definitely am not going to say names right now, but there's been directors. There's some people though. There's been some directors that I know and recognize that I was really excited to work with that are also actors, and were just a big letdown. And there's been actors that I've been excited to meet that were a big letdown. But you know what? Those moments teach you a lot.
I was just about to ask.
They teach me more than anything. I had an encounter once when I was a little kid. All I wanted to do was play hockey. I was like a big hockey player. And I met a professional athlete that I was really excited to meet, like so excited to meet. And he didn't give me the time of day, and he didn't look me in the eye, and his autograph was not legible or anything. And I said, you know what? When I'm a professional hockey player one day, I will look every person in the aisle, give them the time of day, I'll shake their hand, I'll make sure they're happy before they walk away from me. And to this day, like anyone that comes up to me, I will do that.
I mean, you do that when you're even off camera with people that
At sales.
you don't. Yeah, you know what I mean? But dude, the feedback that I got, I swear to you, was like it made me love you more. Because bro, like when you meet somebody that you watch all the time and it's not a good experience, it ruins the character, ruins the whole experience.
There's a lot of that, man. There's a lot of that. There's a business that ego is a big part of it, and for all, I mean, everyone struggles with it to some degree, but this business in particular is a tough one. It's a tough one because a lot of people come out here, especially as kid actors, and you're leaving your families, or you're leaving a bad situation. You're running away. My family's not supporting me. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to stick it to them, and then you're on your own, and so you look for belonging in places, and it's not a. There's a lot of places that I wouldn't recommend going. So whenever people ask me like, oh, I want to go to Hollywood, I'm always just like, picture yourself at your most successful. Like you got it all. Everything you dream of in Hollywood, you got it all. Now remove fame and remove money. And are you happy? Yeah. Like, is that what you want? Like, is this meaningful to you? Because there's nothing wrong with a hobby to act. Like doing plays, doing improv, doing all that. That's a wonderful thing. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you're doing, you got to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, because this is such a tough business, man. It's a really tough business now more than ever.
It could chew you up and spit you out.
Exactly.
Or it could be a beautiful ride. It all depends on who's guarding you.
Yes. Do you have the right systems in place? Are you doing it for the right reason? Do you have the right support? If all that is yes, then this is one of the most powerful, beautiful, glorious storytelling is one of the most powerful forms of art in the world, and now you have all these different ways to tell stories with podcasting, with short form content, with all of that. Yeah. Anyone can do it now. It is absolutely glorious. Just got to do it for the right reasons.
Have your kids shown any interest in wanting to act? Or
I'm so
anything?
nervous.
You don't want them in it?
My daughter totally wants to. She asks me every week, "Am I going to be in your show, Papa? Am I going to be in your show? Did you talk to your people?"
You're like, you're gonna have to audition.
How old
I'm
is
like,
she?
acting camp, line readings. Let's see, happy face, sad face, happy face, sad face. Yeah, I would let her act in stuff that I control, like stuff I'm producing or stuff that I got.
Yeah.
But the whole business of acting lessons and on the grind and auditioning and constant rejection, like I don't care who you are as an actor. Ask Ryan Gosling what his hit ratio of auditions was. It's probably way higher than most, but still majority failure.
Of course.
And that's a lot, especially when you get your hopes up for things, when you really work something, when you get into the negotiations, you get close, and then someone else gets it.
Oh, yeah.
My brother's the freaking king of almost getting roles. He tested for Maze Runner, for this franchise, for that franchise. He'd get down to the finals and all of it. The money gets negotiated. It's all there. It's him and one other guy, and he'd never get it. He'd never get it. But he'd get right to the finish line on movies that could change his life, you know?
But that's the difference between an actor who makes it and not, is like I've learned, is that one stuck around and one didn't. And
yes,
so it's kind of just like
100%.
hang around until the pool, like it's your turn.
Yes.
Gotta have your
And-
athlete mentality,
Have the athlete mentality, have the salesman mentality. You don't care how many no's you get as long as you get one yes. Like,
Yep.
That's the way to go. Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you questions just from strictly childhood mentality.
Please, let's do it. I'm here.
So you're in Disney and now you're doing the crossovers. So again, there's no social media. You don't get to connect with these guys until you're on set.
Yeah.
What is Hollywood like back in the day when
So much better.
Right,
Dude, it was glorious. It's so much better without all that crap.
Yeah.
I remember it'd be like me, Selena, Taylor Swift, Miley, like all getting to have lunch and hang out with no social media crap or worry about anything. You could be real. It was so amazing.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about anything.
No,
And
you don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
You lived in
Nowadays-
the last realm of what I thought Hollywood was like before.
It was so
Hollywood,
much better.
Hollywood is always changing itself to please the audience. And now when we had that steroid phone use where every moment of your life is now being edited and changed and everything, everybody's changing so much. And I too, like, bro, when I first came out here, I think it was like only year one where I went to a party and nobody was just on their phone like crazy. And
Yeah.
all I kept thinking about is like, I will never go to a party. No one's enjoying parties. They're always on their phone or like, you don't want to do anything because they might be recording you.
Dude.
So what was a Hollywood party like when you were like, I'm free, dude. No one's going to record
Okay.
me on a device off my phone.
This was yeah. Well, someone came up to me recently and goes, "Dude, I wrote a movie based on your parties."
Your parties?
Your parties?
All right,
Yeah.
Jess, could you refill my drink? I got to hear about this. Do you want a refill? You want ice?
Yeah, I'll take a refill.
Oh, Jet, and put liquor in it so we could get a little bit more of a...
We had half a young Hollywood would roll through my party.
Yo, so wait, you threw
This
parties?
was insane.
Were you
this was
shirtless?
that may or may not be in this guy's movie. But this was this is me BC too. I say David before Christ, where I was just living it up. And
We've all been
by
there,
the way,
you know?
part of the it's true. Part of why I changed was just I realized the fruitlessness of all of that.
Yeah.
But we threw some bangers. It was,
Here we are.
you know, I came up in that era where we all kind of knew each other. All the up and coming actors, like anyone who's 30 years old right now to 35 years old, we were all hanging out in one way, shape, or form, and I threw the parties, and we'd have 200 people over at my house, and there was no phones, you know,
Wow,
there was
yeah.
none of that, so there was
So
no.
much fun.
I 100% it would be impossible today.
Was there
Would be
anybody like
impossible.
always full of drama and you're like, dude, we can't bring this person with
Oh,
us?
100%. 100%. Yes,
the
people
divas.
I'd recognize
But
from TV.
but you would still hang out with them. There wasn't like, no, like you can't hang out with us, or you guys are crew. Did you guys hang out together?
there were warring factions.
Really?
There were warring tribes.
Was it
that-
because like shows were competing? So
A
there
little-
was like
Yeah, a little bit of that, a little bit of girl issues, you know.
Oh, the boys.
There was a handful of ladies that all the guys wanted. It's like, you know, anything else in life,
Right.
and that created some
right because there was a
tension
lot
and
of like
stuff.
dating in the Disney
Yeah,
world, right?
oh,
like,
yeah.
Dude, so cool,
Yeah.
bro. This is so cool. My childhood is going nuts right now.
Yeah,
dude.
our
I
childhood
knew
is
it.
completed.
I knew it.
What was your
You're
favorite?
100% right.
What was your favorite crossover that you got to do? The different show.
The one we did with Sweet Life in Hannah Montana was really fun.
Yeah.
Dude, what a great episode.
That was a banger.
I'm so sorry. I
That
gotta
was a
calm
big
down.
episode.
It
Yeah,
was.
I
that
love,
was
this is
one.
hilarious that they're seeing this version of me like getting all excited. But
They
dude, did that
painted me in blue.
Do you have any idea what the audience felt like when you saw you on the Sweet Life, or like them on your brain was like, what's going on here? Like, this
it's
can't
like-
happen.
This is Dragon Ball Z for me. Like when I met the Dragon Ball Z people and the Power Rangers people. By the way, I met one Power
lost me on
Ranger.
the Power Rangers.
Devastated. He devastated me. It was a terrible meeting. He was so not nice.
I know
Aw.
what color he was.
You probably do.
White?
Oh, I never met him. I'd like to meet him.
Was it
though.
green?
It wasn't him. No,
Red.
but Tommy. I love Tommy.
Blue.
You're saying all
We're
the
getting
colors.
closer. We're
By the
getting
way,
closer.
I don't know one Ranger.
Yellow.
I just wanted to guess the color.
Yeah. He was a color, and he really disappointed me. But
I love how he's like, no, I love Tommy.
But yeah, no, Tommy was the man. But yeah, those crossovers were meaningful. People talk about those all the time these days. All the time. They painted me blue. I was in like this whole blue like pool thing, and yeah, that was they had to cover. Yeah.
Who was your favorite cast from a different show that you're like, oh, I hope we get to be?
Can I guess it?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think? I think it's the Sweet Life. I think it's the Sweet Life crew because they look like they're cool in real life.
They were homies. Dylan and Cole were homies. There's to this day I'll see those guys and it's like the nicest, coolest. They had a great dad too, and like they're a wonderful family. They're super cool. You know, Brenda's so chill. Brenda Song.
Oh, yeah.
She's so chill and cool. She's a homie too. Miley's cool too. Miley's nice. Like
I was gonna say, did you look forward to Hannah Montana? Did you
Let's
have a
get
crush
to the
on Miley?
juice. Let's get to the
Yeah,
juice,
yeah, were
dog.
you crushing?
Let's get to the
Go
juice,
on.
dog. Let's get to the juice, bro. Did you guys ever have feelings for each other on set? Because I know you guys are not really brother and sister.
Are you talking about Selena?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. We were kept things very professional, and it was always a good atmosphere. Yeah.
But was Selena and Hannah, were they like, I'm the main girl? No, I'm the main girl.
No, not really. It was. We didn't see each other a lot because we'd see each other at like publicity things, and we'd cross over at, like the Disney Channel games or whatever.
Or were you guys saying about stuff together? That could have. That could have.
Say it
been
again. What?
back.
Singing? What?
Do you know when you guys all sang together? Like,
Oh, I didn't do it.
thank God.
I didn't do it. Yeah,
Even
no,
us
no,
as
no.
kids were like, what is this?
That
Oh,
was
I
so,
guess-
yeah. We love the planet. I don't think I did that. I don't think I
Oh,
did
I
that.
can't wait to
We got to
get
go back
clipped.
and fact check
If you
that.
get clipped, I'm gonna be so happy, bro.
I don't think I did it.
I wasn't there. Hard cut.
I'm selling it. I'm like, I love this tree. It is great.
But the games, I remember the games.
Oh,
were
yeah.
so
Did you guys
much
actually
fun.
play, or did they?
I
were
had
like,
so much fun. That's when me and the Jonas Brothers like bonded. We had those guys are so cool. We had a freaking blast there. They have an awesome family, and we had so much fun. Yeah, we were just all hanging out. Like when they stopped filming, we'd all be hanging out. It was like Disney Channel like house,
Yeah.
and like everyone was there together. It was like we get in the jacuzzis together and hang out, and like that was crazy. That
That must have been so much fun not to have like social media, just live in the moment.
It was in the moment.
Yeah.
It was in the moment. That is such a better life. By the way, that's why I deleted all the apps on my phone, and I just
Yeah,
have
this
someone.
dude like an old man. He goes, "Can I show you this project I'm working on with Mel Gibson?" And then he goes, www.youtube.com. I'm like, bro, you don't have the app? I don't have any apps on my phone. And I was like, all right, Grandpa. What
I
the
made a
hell?
hard cut. It just takes up so much of my freaking life. I was like, you know what? I literally said, how much is an hour worth to me? And because I was spending an hour, 2 hours a day. And I went, I'm going to pay someone that. Not worth it. And so I hire someone, and he does it all. I send it to him.
Do you feel happier?
Way less stressful. I'm on my phone less around my kids. I'm not as anxious. I'm not checking the pocket, you know? It's like
You're free.
I'm free.
Yeah, I
I
like
can
it.
connect. I can
Yeah.
connect.
There's
I
a
was
time-
on it
there's
too
a
much.
time and place.
I was on it too much. I'm not saying I won't get back on the apps one day.
But moderation.
Moderation. And I'm at a place where I need to empty, and I'll get
you
it
have
back.
the
I'll get
peace.
it back one day.
Did you guys ever have like were you guys allowed to work or talk to Nickelodeon? Because I know that the networks were like, "Hey, this is our audience. Don't mix."
I think it wasn't an explicitly stated thing, but we just never really crossed paths.
Because you're like, you guys have
We're Disney
not Disney.
Channel.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys have commercials? Hilarious. Watch this music video from the Jonas Brothers. Like, what the heck? You haven't created that? What the heck?
I mean-
hold on. I'm like, hold on. What is this? This
It's
is
hard
great.
to say we were competing because there was no competition.
Let's go. Let's go.
There's gonna be beef now online.
No. I see Josh Peck every once in a while. He's the coolest dude. I like
Sweetheart,
nothing
yep.
but love for
Yeah,
him.
he's a
Like
sweetheart.
so I've always
The
bumped
first
into
time I
him.
met
So
him,
talented.
I went up to him. I was like, "Hug me, brother," and he went, "Real original." And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Okay, I won't do that one again."
No.
Oh, poor guy. And then we were walking to the Grove, and like 4 people rolled down the window and said the same thing I said, and the whole time I was like, "Oh no."
Oh dang!
I'm so
I just
unoriginal,
unloaded a
dude.
world of hurt. Oh, that is so funny.
Well, I'm curious to know, because I mean, we touched on this kind of lightly, but when was that moment for you where you decided to give your life to Jesus and follow him, and like, what was your aha moment?
Yeah, there was like a lightning bolt moment for me. It was. I don't think I would have been convinced with any like perk or any like cool thing or like material good or like cool worship band or anything like that. That wasn't my trajectory. Like I was I was so searching for meaning and truth, and I just wanted something that was objectively true. And I was studying different religions and studying different philosophies, and I think it was the argument from contingency that everything in existence, all the facts and data that we know of how life works, planets, solar systems, matter, everything has a contingent cause, and it can't be infinite. If it was infinite, we wouldn't have a finite reality. And it was in exploring that further and further and further and further and further, in examining more scientific proof and evidence for how things are just constantly contingent, that it led me to go, okay, there had to have been some sort of uncaused first cause that caused everything. No one disagrees with that, by the way. You can call it the Big Bang, call it whatever you want, but something uncaused caused everything. And out of chaos, order came. Well, it couldn't have been too chaotic because it begot perfect order. So to me, it's like there's so much intelligence in the universe, and there's so much rationality in it. There's so many numbers in it that had to have a creator. And it was this lightning bolt moment where I went, there has to be a God. And from there, it was like, well, which God, and how does this work, and everything.
Right.
And that was the lightning bolt moment where I went, there is a God.
Right.
And that led me to further exploration on that. But that was my lightning bolt.
I love
was
that.
my
It's
lightning
interesting
bolt
because you never know if it's going to be something, you know, sometimes people, it's something personal or going through something, but it's interesting for you. It was the scientific part of it.
Yes.
You're like, okay, I have holes here.
Yes, and I knew I'd have to change my life. I knew I'd have to change my life. I was loosely dating someone at the time, and that wasn't a relationship that I saw as something that could be fruitful, and it ultimately ended. And it was one of the best. It turned out to be incredibly rewarding for me personally, because it made me focus on myself, and it continuing that exploration just with myself and my relationship with God. And ultimately led to a purpose. And I was like, you know what? The next person that I date, I need to get to know God first. The next person that I date, that's going to be my wife. And it was.
Wow.
And it was years later, but yeah, it was.
Could you paint me out a picture of your life, the way you felt and operated in this type of field without God and then with God? Yes.
It's so two completely different pictures. One is you're like a hamster in a wheel. You are constantly clawing your way from project to project, trying to claw your way up, living in a town that is so expensive and so hard to make it in. You're constantly surrounded by people that are doing the same thing as you. That's all they want to talk about. And you're looking up to always the next best thing or the next best person. And the way you measure success is just based on what you have or the things you're doing or the people that you know. And I call it like the bubblegum theory of pleasure. You're just constantly looking for the next piece of bubblegum that'll give you that pleasure. But eventually the pleasure runs out, and eventually you're left with that empty feeling. And so you fill it again, and 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 you're hammering this. And it led me to a place where I was, by 21 years old, I remember sitting with my mom just going, I'm not happy. I don't, this is what I do forever. Like, I'm just going to kill myself like this forever. I'm not happy. And then finding God doesn't just, God in your life just doesn't just make things better immediately, but he gives you purpose and you have a goal. So I'm not a hamster in a wheel. I'm still a hamster, but I'm going towards a goal now. There's a goal. It's not this infinitely circular thing where you're just chasing your tail all day long. Life is still hard, and life is still difficult, and life has suffering, but at least there's meaning to it now, and at least there's purpose. And that to me made all the difference, because I still struggle like everyone else with everything we can all struggle with in life. Fatherhood, being a husband, taking care of my children, supporting a family, and wanting to make good projects that can impact the culture. There's all sorts of anxieties and struggles and things that go along with that. All of that is still there from the business that I'm in. But now there's hope. So, you know, to me, that's a huge difference. That
Big time.
You're off the wheel.
One, you're in a dark room. One is like a beautiful bright room, and you're like, oh,
Yes.
It's like in the scripture it says that his peace and joy is above our understanding. So the fact that you were so young in the field and at the highest level you could possibly be in the field, I'm glad you got to experience that uncomfortable of not knowing, not being comfortable and empty. So that way, when you do have that relationship with Jesus, you're like, dude, take my career if you need it. I'd rather be here in your presence.
Your value is not determined by what you do.
It's not your works.
It's not, you aren't, I thought in the other version I was painting of the hamster in the wheel, I thought my value was determined by the projects that I'd get or the things that I had. That represented my value. And now I know that and it's still something that I work on, because there's all sorts of temptations in life. But it's like, I know that my value is not determined. My identity and my value is not determined by things or accomplishments. My identity is not rooted in that. My value is not rooted in that.
How do you pour that into your children?
I think about it a lot. I want them to know that I don't think I try to treat them in a way where it's like, I do think God calls us to be excellent. I do think God wants the best for us. And I do think he wants us not to be lazy. So I do want to encourage them to do good things, to dream big, to be great. I want to encourage these things. But if they fail and they don't get it, I don't want them to identify with their failure. Their failure is not them. It's okay to make mistakes, and that's a good thing. And I didn't grow up in that atmosphere in this business. You know, it's very much like, if you're failing, you're a failure. You're not going to make it. And that's been a tough thing that I've had to go to therapy for and all that. Because it's daunting. And it's, you know, as a 9, 10, 11-year-old kid going to 3 auditions a week for years on end and not getting most of them. But I got more than most people, and I was able to, you know, do well at it. It still was really hard. So I've had to, I'm still undoing a lot of that stuff.
That's a hard undoing. It's not like you're an engineer and it's like, if you have a bad day, it's like, oh, I don't want him to touch my engine. It's like, no, if you do bad in your field, it's like, I don't like you. And it's like, damn, bro. It's like,
yes, you're putting
so
your
personal.
100%. You said it well. You're putting your heart on the line every single time, and they didn't like what you did.
Yeah.
And that's a tough, especially because actors too, you know, I'm a sensitive guy. Like, you're so sensitive about these things that you're doing. It's an extension of you. And
you're putting your heart out there.
You put your heart out there. So I consciously try to not do that in my kids, and I want them to be secure. I want them to feel so confident in themselves that they don't need any sort of external validation. They're confident in me as their parent, that I give them, that I will love them no matter what. I'll be there for them. And that's a reflection ultimately of God. And that's the goal, right? As a parent, to try to be that reflection.
You're doing it beautifully, bro. Not only to your kids, but the people that watch you, the way you behave, the way you're humble and meek. You're a male to somebody else.
Oh, thank you, man.
I really want you to explain to us, like, the next chapter of your life. Like, now that we've kind of like followed through these chapters of where you've been, where do you see your eyes moving towards? Like, where do you see yourself in like 5 years in this field? Are you still in this field?
That's a great question. Yeah. I think I am.
Where's your desires?
My desire is to, my dream would be to continue to try to build a brand that can be trusted for content. Like, I want to build a family-friendly brand that you can go to and feel that you're getting a high-quality, entertaining experience at the highest level with people you recognize and that you're familiar with, and just have a really good time. So my goal is to keep building that company, you know, an Amblin-like, or, you know, Disney-like, especially, So that's my hope, is to continue to be a source of content that people can trust and feel like, oh, okay, this is a movie that he's helping put out, or a show he's helping put out. I'm excited. I know what I'm going to get from that. I'm going to get something meaningful, but also so entertaining that I can eat popcorn and have a good time with. That's my goal, to keep doing that. So I want to keep directing, acting, producing. I want to keep cultivating film and television that can be impactful and entertaining.
That's great, and we need that. And kids, I think, really need that.
Yes.
So, and when does Monstrous Summer come out?
So Monstrous Summer is coming out October 4th in theaters everywhere nationwide. Let's go. This weekend for Beetlejuice, we're having our posters take over all the movie theaters across America. So you're going to see Monstrous Summer all over America.
That's amazing.
What does that do to your heart, bro?
Crazy.
Bro,
it's crazy.
He was holding the video, like showing us the trailer, and he was like just such a proud dad, just sitting there.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was like doing the facial expressions.
Yeah.
The actors were talking, he was just mouthing their words. He was so passionate. I love to see the passion in it.
Thank you, man.
All right, so do you have any like secret projects that you have coming out that you're like, I haven't told anybody yet, but we might be starting this and writing this?
I'm happy to tell you about this. I do have one that I'm really excited about, that especially because you guys said you're getting married soon, and kids are in the plan for one day, God willing.
God willing.
Good. So kids have nothing to watch, right? And my heart's in this idea right now that I want kids to have a piece of content that learns about the faith, that is very entertaining. And there's not a lot out there right now for kids, especially that touches on Christian history. So myself and my partners are crafting this idea called Halo Heroes, and it's essentially a hybrid format. So you have live action and you have animation. You're going to have me and my brother go visit places where the saints walked. So pivotal figures in Christian history, post-Christ to modern day. Saint Joan of Arc, you have Saint Francis de Sales, you have people who were the apostles, you have stories in the Bible like Veronica and others that weren't really touched on. And these were real people. And I want kids to know that they were real. So me and my brother are going to go visit these live action places, these real places where they were. And then we're going to activate this little time travel device and morph into animation and go on an adventure with this specific person, whoever this person was, who played pivotal roles in Christian history and can teach us something about the Gospels. Obviously, what is it to be a saint? It is to be Christ-like, right? So this show is these characters who are wanting to answer this question, how to be a saint, what does that even mean? And they meet these characters who exemplified Christ, these real people, and we morph back in time, go on this animated adventure, and then it comes back out to the live action in the very end. And we're thinking this is a show for 6 to 12-year-olds. But it can, I think, beget an entire brand and a whole world of family-friendly content. It's going to be high-quality animation. We have this amazing director, Tim Record, who's nominated for an Oscar. Incredibly talented director who's going to be directing the series, and my brother and I are going to act, and we have wonderful writers that are writing it. Amanda Devine, who's super talented, and others. And we're starting that in between the hiatus of Wizards before season 2 would go.
Right.
And I'm really excited about that.
This
I
is
haven't told anyone
incredible,
about that.
Wow, this is amazing.
Well done, bro.
I'm
Yes.
stoked.
done.
I haven't told anyone about that.
Dude,
I'm stoked.
I'm a little jealous that I'm not a part of the project because I was always looking because, dude, I see the pendulum swinging back, and I might sound like a cuckoo Christian, but storytelling came from Christianity. Jesus told stories
best
in
stories.
such a vivid way that, dude. Every time I watch a movie now, I get bored because I got so into my gospel that I'm like, yo, have you read what David had to go through? like for real. I'm really proud of you, bro. You're bringing your
man.
passion and your faith together, and I pray that God makes it so fruitful.
Thank you,
Do
man.
you know where it's gonna live?
We're trying to figure that out. We're doing
Dude,
it
I
ourselves.
have a place.
Okay.
You need to take this to Angel Studio, bro.
They're actually really good friends of mine.
You gotta
Oh my
take it to
gosh.
them.
The Harmon brothers are really good friends of mine. I know them really well. And
Incredible.
Not close enough. You just cut them from the list. They're really good friends of ours.
no, they're really good friends. I would totally be open to working with Angel. They're homies. We're gonna make it, and we're gonna position ourselves for strength. So we're gonna make it.
So that way, not too many cooks in the kitchen.
I'm gonna show it to them. I'm gonna show it to everybody. And whoever our distribution partner is needs to be a partner. They need to not just be like. I think there's massive. I think this is a whole brand, a universe of kids content. Because look, there's billions of Christians out there, and every Christian kid doesn't have toys that a Toyotic universe, or their beds are their bedspreads are princesses and this and that. Like we have all these great examples of Christian heroes that
Right.
you can have dolls and toys and things that just wrap the room in Christianity.
Totally.
All right,
That can
you're
be super
my
cool.
Mel
So-
Gibson now, dude. Now,
so
I just became
I
the
want
guy.
a universe here. I want a big universe. So I need
no.
the right partner that understands the big vision and that can help support that.
That's a huge vision. Where did you stumble upon this vision?
I was watching my brother and I. My brother's got his 5th kid on the way. I have 3, and we're both just going. There's nothing. There's a bunch of old content or things that we don't think are very good for our kids. What is there? There's nothing out there. So we're just complaining for years on end. And we're watching this show called Wildcrats. And Wildcrats is a kids show. It's a great show, and it's essentially about 2 zoologists who go visit an animal, and then it morphs into animation. They go on an adventure with the animal and animation. And you learn something about the animal. It's harmless, and my kids love it. It's a great, harmless
Cute.
piece of content. And then I was thinking of shows like Wishbone and others that have just done going back in time. And finally, Lorenzo and I, my brother Lorenzo and I were like, this is what we do. We had just made an animated show that got us nominated for the Emmy, a show called A Tale Dark and Grim. And we're like, this is what we do. We know how to make high-quality animated shows. I wrote for the show. I was like, I know how to write, know how to develop. And let's do this for our kids. So we just said, let's do it.
Bro,
That's
I love
amazing.
that,
Yeah.
dude.
Thank you for
That's-
creating something for the
Yeah,
kingdom and
yeah.
for children.
For her.
There we go. There we go.
little baby
Wait,
in
is
there.
there really?
No,
Yeah.
there isn't.
Oh, I was like,
There isn't.
Yeah, I've been trying.
And I wore like my milk making dress today. It kind of looks like
My mom and dad came. They sat me down. They're like, if she gets pregnant before you're married, we kill you. And I was like, okay.
I'd be pretty upset
Very
about
Old
it too, you know?
You're friends with Gregg.
Sulkin.
Yes.
Yes, you know Gregg?
I met him when I met her.
So
What?
Well, Michelle. You know
Yes,
Michelle? That's
yes,
my best
yes.
friend. That's my maid of honor.
You're kidding me. She is so sweet.
Isn't she the best?
She is so sweet.
She's an angel.
Yeah.
An angel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I walked into their
But-
group and she was like, "This is Michelle, and this is Gregg," and I was like, "Oh!" I was like, "This is the guy from Wizard of Waverly Place."
The best looking man in the world.
Bro, he's such a dad,
Oh, I don't know why they didn't get married, those two.
dude. Oh, well, that's what I was saying.
I can't
but
comment on
pissing me off.
anything.
They were
Yeah.
so cute together.
Yeah, I know. I told
They were
Gregg
one-
that too. I was like, this is, you should.
Gregg is the reason why I locked it down with her. We're sitting at the club and I'm looking at this guy that could have literally any girl he looks at. He's like, "Listen, mate, what we got," he goes, "These girls, they're the best." And I was like, "Awesome." And then like there was this guy named Zach. Do you know who Zach is?
No.
He was like Maddie. Did you ever meet Maddie?
No.
Okay.
Dude, he's just a
So no,
fine
one of our girls.
specimen of a human being.
Okay.
So
Good.
it's Gregg and then this gorgeous man that was like hand sculpted by God himself. And then I'm like, all right, if these guys are settling down with these girls, then there must be gold here. And then so we're getting married and they didn't get the memo. I don't know what happened.
They broke up.
You took it
unfortunately.
seriously. They're still
I
at
don't
the
know what
club.
happened, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's so funny because like I met him and he's just such a like he's like, "Man, you want something to drink?" He's like, "I'm gonna stay off the sun," and he's like
He's such
dodging
a
the
dad.
sun, and I'm like,
I took him under my wing when we first like that. This is like the stories or whatever of David Busey. I took Gregg under my wing and was
Oh,
not
you
a great
spun him?
was not a great influence on him. No,
Oh, you
no.
start-
I
you
introduced
kickstarted
him
things
to
for him?
every girl. I introduced him to everyone. I brought Gregg everywhere, and
you know what I love of interviewing him? I could see his brain going, "Nope, can't talk about that.
know.
Can't talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that."
yeah, yeah.
I know
We'll move on
exactly
to
what
this.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then
And
he
now-
tried to catch it, be like, "Yeah,"
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
just grabs his hair.
No,
and he
you
goes,
know
"Yeah."
when Gregg became a dad is when he started dating Michelle.
yes, and
So-
you know what's cool about Gregg is he's seen this change in my life. He's seen me completely change from who I was to who I am now. And he's been there for me all the way through. I had a lot of friends who kicked me to the curb. And Gregg has been there all the way through. He has a wonderful family. He has wonderful parents. And he's loved. He calls me. We talk often, about life and family and how he wants a family and all that. And he's seeing what's going on with my wife and my kids. And I think he really is yearning. He's got that calling on his heart.
It's knocking on his heart.
Totally is.
I pray
Totally
that it's gonna happen soon.
Totally. I think it will.
Dude, when I first came to LA, and it's like every girl I ever dated was like, I used to talk to Gregg, and I was like, yeah, I bet you did. Every girl did.
I take partial responsibility for.
Well,
take
dude,
partial
man, it was such a
responsibility for
pleasure sitting down and getting to know you. man.
Likewise.
It was
This was
awesome.
great.
Do you play basketball?
that. I do.
I would love to ball with you sometime.
Dude, I love it. I haven't played in a long time, but I used to play at the LA Fitness on Ventura down. I used to play there all the time. Haven't played in a long time, but I would play.
I'm down.
I would totally play.
I'm not gonna disclose our location where we're gonna play,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you just did. But we're gonna go to a different LA Fitness.
We're not going to that LA Fitness. Yeah. We'll love it, bro.
Dude, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on,
you
bro.
so much.
It was such a pleasure. Oh, what?
What happened?
Today?
I'll
I'll go right now.
I'm not working today, but you should come to a taping at some point.
Can I bring Belle?
Oh,
Of course, yeah.
am I allowed?
Honestly, if he was like, I can only bring one Belle, you would be so out. You would be so out. Thanks for watching, guys. My dreams just came true. I hope this was magical for you guys. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.